Hello, K. Jolie Crochet Basics, and in this episode we're going to make Abby an electronic baby alive, the talking ones, the bigger sized ones. We're going to make her a diaper. So with this one, bare basics mostly. You need a size G hook, which is a G6. It's a 4mm size hook. 2 buttons. You can adjust for snaps instead of buttons, but the buttons kind of work out a little easier, I think. Size 4 acrylic yarn we're going in, your choice of color, of course. You might want to have elastic string, depending. You know, on if it loosens up a lot with wear and tear, of course. A yarn needle. Needle and thread. I'm going to show you how using these toggle buttons, which is the buttons that have the loop in the back. These I always think are easier for little hands, you know. But a needle and thread to strengthen it. I'll show you how to put it on for placement, and then to strengthen it, a needle and thread. And scissor. Tape measure is always welcomed when we're working with yarn. This one's more or less it's easy, as in it's the basics. Chaining, single crochet. We're going to do some increases and decreases. Not hard. I'll show you how to do them. And we'll go from there. Alright, so this one came out cute, more or less. I'm not necessarily over the moon about it, you know, like super thrilled. But it did come out pretty cute. And then there's another, I have another tutorial up there if you wanted to do the booties and a dress tutorial. So, but this is for the electronic baby alive. It's bigger than the regular basic. If you're looking for stuff for the basic baby alive, I do have other tutorials. You can look below for links. Alright, but we're going to get this going. Okay, to start, you're going to put your buttons, if you're going to use the toggle buttons, because there is a difference with the toggle buttons. So I'm going to put them on my yarn before I start. And you can use a yarn needle or a tapestry needle. A needle that has a long eye is best, because you can always squish the yarn down and force it through. But I actually have a very small hook that works just as well. But I'm going to put the buttons on first before I even start. And they're only going to be on there for a few rows, so this is just works out for placement of the buttons in general. Let me zoom in for a sec. I hesitate to zoom in because I always forget to zoom out. But these actually have a happy face on them. So when I did the first, her happy faces are kind of upside down. Not necessarily how they should be. So, but they also make regular daisy buttons and stuff like that. Easy peasy. Alright, so you're going to start with a slip knot, and you're going to chain 16 chains. So, if you need to see a slip knot, you would wrap, cross over, and then pull up. That's a slip knot, and it, you know, it tightens up until it falls out. Okay, but I don't normally start with a slip knot when I'm working. So you do your slip knot, and I'll do my little crossover on my hook, and we're going to chain 16. So we're going to skip that first chain, this one right here, closest to the hook, and you're going to work back in a single crochet for 15 single crochets for row 1. And remember, you can pause at any time. You can pause, and it's good if you are learning crochet. If you pause, like, and you hear what I'm saying to you, and you read what the pattern is for that row, it'll probably help you be able to read patterns a little easier. You know, seeing it on the screen and reading it as you go, and hearing it being told to you. Okay, so for row 1, 1 single crochet in each for 15 single crochets. So you'll chain 1 and you'll turn your work. Now you're going to work, the rest of this pattern is worked in both sides of the braid. So both sides of the braid. Alright, so for row 2, 1 single crochet in each for 15 single crochets. Chain 1 and turn your work. So now for row 3, this is where we're going to add in our buttons. So you're going to work 1 single crochet. I'm sorry, let me just pull some yarn here. Okay, so you'll work 1 single crochet for row 3 in the first 2 stitches. Then you'll feed up, and this is also how you do beading. If you were, you know, going to do beading on the crochet, you'll feed up your button and you'll work right around it in a single crochet. Alright, so now for the next 9 stitches, you'll work 1 single crochet in the next 9 stitches. And then you'll pull up your next button and add that in. And then work your last 2 single crochets for row 3. And you'll chain 1 and turn your work. Okay, so for row 4, you're going to work 1 single crochet in each. And you'll work the stitch right over where your button is. So chain 1, turn work, and 1 single crochet in each for row 4. You'll chain 1 and turn your work. Now for row 5, we're going to crochet the first 2 single crochets together. Okay, so if you don't know, I'm going to show you You're going to go in, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 2 on the hook. Go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. You have 1, 2, 3 on the hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3, and that's how you're going to drop the stitch. So it's TOG is the abbreviation, TOG, and you're crocheting 2 together. So then you'll crochet 1 single crochet down the row for the next 11 stitches, and you'll single crochet the last 2 together for this row, for row 5. Chain 1 and turn your work. So for row 6, we're going to continue on with the same thing. We're going to crochet the first 2 stitches together. You'll chain 1, turn work. You'll crochet the first 2 stitches together, 1 single crochet in the next 9 stitches, and then the last 2 get crocheted together. So that'll leave you with 11 stitches for row 6. Alright, so for row 7, 1 single crochet in each, and you'll end up with 11 stitches again. You'll chain 1 and turn your work. So for row 8, we're going to crochet the first 2 together, 1 down the row for the next 7 stitches, and then the last 2 together again. And that'll leave you with 9 single crochets. Alright, you'll chain 1 and turn your work. So for row 9, we're going to crochet the first 2 together, 1 down the row for the next 5 stitches, and then the last 2 get crocheted together again, and a chain 1 and turn your work, and you'll end up with 7 single crochets for row 9. So for row 10, we're going to do the same. You'll crochet the first 2 together, 1 in the next 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and then the last 2 get crocheted together. And that should leave you with 5 single crochets for row 10. For row 11, so now you can pause here if you like. Okay, if you're working it up along with me. All right, but for row 11, from row 11 to row 17, you're going to work 1 single crochet in each, 5 stitches across with a chain 1 and a turn work. So from row 11 to row 17, 1 single crochet in each, and it's 5 down the row. So if you haven't, please subscribe. Give a thumbs up if you make it and like it. If you're looking for other Baby Alive, regular Baby Alive patterns, they're up there. I have a diaper, a ballerina, bathing suit, hat, slippers for the ballerina outfit. And for the Talking Baby Alive, I have a dress and a set of booties. And I also have a few dresses and a romper for the smaller Baby Alives. Okay, so now for row 18, we're going to start increasing again. Alright, so at this point, this is what your piece should look like. It's kind of funny because I guess it would look like in the front of an elephant. Alright, anyway, so for row 18, 2 single crochets in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches and 2 single crochets in the last, and that'll leave you with 7 stitches, 7 single crochets for row 18, and then we'll chain 1 and turn our work. So for row 19, we're going to repeat that, okay? So we'll do 2 single crochets in the first, 1 single crochet in the next 5 stitches, and 2 single crochets in the last. And that'll leave us with 9 single crochets for row 19. And you'll chain 1 and turn your work. So now for row 20, we're going to repeat that. So 2 single crochets in the first, 1 single crochet in the next 7 stitches down the row, and 2 single crochets in the last for row 20, and that'll end you with 11 single crochets. Alright, you'll chain 1 and turn your work. Now for row 21, we're just going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way down, and you'll end up with 11 again. Alright, so now we're on row 22. So we're going to start increasing again. So you'll do 2 single crochets in the first, 1 single crochet in the next 9 stitches, and 2 single crochets in the last, and that'll end you up with 13 stitches for row 22. Chain 1 and you'll turn your work. And all of a sudden I'm having a nice little allergy attack. But let's keep this going. Alright, so that was row 22. So for row 23, we're going to continue on. We're going to continue on with the increases. Alright, we should be on row 23. I'm sorry, I had a bit of an allergy thing happening. That's a sneeze in here. Alright, so for row 23, you'll do 2 single crochets in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the next 11 stitches down, and 2 in the last. And that should end you with 15 single crochets for row 23. Alright, so now you'll chain 1 and turn your work. So for row 24, 2 single crochets in the first, 1 single crochet in the next 13 stitches, and 2 single crochets in the last, and that'll end you up with 17 single crochets for row 24. So now for row 25, 1 single crochet in each. You'll chain 1, turn your work, 1 single crochet in each, and that'll end you up with 17 single crochets for row 25. Alright, so now for row 26, so row 25, we'll chain 1, turn work, and you should be up to 17 stitches. So now for row 26, we're going to increase again. So you'll do 2 single crochets in the first, 1 single crochet in the next 15 stitches, and 2 single crochet in the last. And that'll end you up with 19. So remember, you can pause at any time and look at, reread the pattern, the titles that I put on, because that's the pattern. So pause it at any time, rewind, whatever you have to do, to get it going, Alright, and you'll chain 1 and turn your work. So that was row 26, and you should be up to 19 single crochets. So now for row 27, you'll do 2 single crochets in the first, 1 single crochet in the next 17 stitches, and 2 single crochets in the last. And that'll end you with 21 stitches for row 27. So now for row 28, you'll chain 1 and turn your work. Now for row 28, we're going to do the same. 2 single crochets in the first, 1 single crochet in the next 19 stitches, and 2 single crochets in the last, and that'll leave you with 23 single crochets for row 28. Row 28. You'll chain 1 and turn your work. So now for row 29, we're going to continue on with our increases. So you'll work 2 single crochets in the first, 1 single crochet in the next 21 stitches, and 2 single crochets in the last. with a chain 1 and turn work, and that'll end you up with 25 single crochets for row 29. And a chain 1 and turn work. So at this point, just to show you, you should have close to about 7 inches or so at this point after row 29 is what we just did. Okay, so let's see. This is 3.5 where you first started, approximately. Remember, yarn shifts, it moves, it does what it does, your tension, my tension, all of that good stuff. All right, but moving on. So row 30, we're going to continue on with the increases. So for row 30, you'll, chain 1, turn your work. You'll do 2 single crochets in the first, 1 in the next 23 stitches, and 2 in the last, and that'll leave you with 27 single crochets for row 30. Alright, you'll chain 1 and turn your work. So for row 31, you're going to repeat the same. 2 single crochets in the first, 1 in the next 25 stitches, and 2 single crochets in the last for row 31, and that will end you up with 29 single crochets for row 31. Alright, so now for row 32, you'll do the same. 2 single crochets in the first, 1 single crochet in the next 27 stitches, and 2 single crochets in the very last, and that'll end you up with 31 single crochets for row 32. Moving right along. We're almost there, I promise. and you'll chain 1 and turn your work. So what did I say? For row 32, you should have 31 single crochets. It's so, like, you know, I'm trying to give you the count and everything, but it's a little daunting or confusing, you know, because I'm kind of like shooting out all these numbers and everything to give you the count on it, you know. All right, so for row 33, we're going to spice it up. We're going to do 2 single crochets in the first 2 stitches, and then 1 down the row for the next 27 stitches, and then 2 single crochets in each of the last 2 stitches. So we're doubling up a little bit, and you'll end up with 35 single crochets for row 33. Whew, all these numbers. All right, so the first 2, you'll do 2 single crochets in each. All right, so we're just increasing a little bit faster on this one, on this row. All right, then 1 single crochet in the next 27 stitches. Okay, and in the last, second to last stitch, you'll do 2 single crochets, and then in the very last stitch, you'll do another 2 single crochets for row 33, and then you'll chain 1 and turn your work, and you should have 35 single crochets for that row. All right, turn the pattern. All right, we only got a few rows left. A few, if you're still with me, we only got a few rows left. Promise, promise. All right, row 34, 1 single crochet in each, and you should have 35 single crochets for row 34. All right, so only 2 more rows after row 34. Promise, promise. All right, so row 34, 1 single crochet in each, and you should end up with 35 single crochets. Come on. I hope you're still with me. You'll chain 1 and turn your work. So now for row 35, we're going to make our button loops. Okay, so for row 35, we're going to make our button loops. So what you're going to do is you'll chain 1, you'll turn your work. All right, you'll work 1 single crochet. Now this depends on your buttons, the size of your buttons. Okay, that's important. You want to make sure your buttons fit through these loops. You don't want to close up and be like, it doesn't fit, you know, what the heck. All right, so make sure it fits before. So you'll do your first single crochet. You'll chain 3, 1, 2, 3. You'll skip 2, 1, 2. Okay, 1, 2. And then you'll work a single crochet in that third one. Well, it's the fourth one. You'll work a single crochet in that fourth stitch. Okay? And then you'll work down the row. But before you get all the way down there, all right, just make sure it fits. Just make sure to reiterate that it does fit. You don't want to get all the way down and find out it doesn't fit. Alright, so you'll work the next 29 stitches. One single crochet in the next 29 stitches down. Alright, so you'll chain 3 again. So 1, 2, 3. You'll skip the 2 right next to the end. I'm trying not to zoom in because what happens is a me thing is I always forget to zoom out and then everything is like super close. So you'll skip these 2. And in that last one, you'll do a single crochet and a chain 1. And just make sure, before you do anything else, make sure that the buttons fit. Before you do anything, just make sure that they fit. And I always feel like, I mean, this is like my opinion, whatever. Of course, because I'm the one making it. But I always feel like these toggle buttons are easier for little fingers. Trying to get the button on. I mean, I could be wrong, but I always think that for some reason I always think because they're like stand up a little bit off of the fabric or the material, the t-shirt, whatever it is. I always just think they're a little bit easier for little fingers to manipulate and button up whatever it is and unbutton, Okay. Last row is where we are at. Alright, so last row is where we are at, and I'm zooming out. Remembering to zoom out, because I forget. Alright, so across the back side, you should have just over 8 inches. Approximately 8, a little more. Okay, and then on the front side, 3 and a quarter, like, close to 4. Sorry, close to 4. I didn't realize I was out of frame. All right, so we're doing one more row on this, and at this point, you should have almost 8 inches from very back to very front for the length. All right, so one last row. And yarn counts when it comes to sizing. Your hook counts and your tension counts. You have to remember these three things are like super important. Okay, the size of the yarn, your tension, and your hook. All of these things count when it comes. I had somebody trying to work a diaper, the regular Baby Alive diaper, and she said, what I have going on is not, it's tiny. It's not anything you have. And I told her, I said, well, check your yarn and check your tension. Because, if you're not yarn tension, like if you're using a sport yarn, it's different, or a smaller, finer yarn, and then even a smaller hook. And if you're using a bigger hook, you'll have looser stitches. So things to always keep in mind when you're working somebody else's patterns. All right. Size counts. It definitely does. All right, so where are we at? Row 36, last row. All right, so you'll chain one, you'll turn your work. You're going to work your 1 single crochet in your 1 single crochet. In your chain space, you're going to work 2 single crochets right around that chain. No biggies. All right, then you're going to work 1 single crochet down the row for the 29. Okay, so that's what that hole looks like, the button loop. And I'll zoom in for the last time. So that's what that hole looks like for the button loop there. All right. So you'll work down until you get to your next button loop, and you'll do the same exact thing. You'll work two single crochets around the button, around the chaining, and then 1 single crochet in that last single crochet. And then you'll pull a tail and cut off for that. All right. And then final touches is really just weaving in and reinforcing the button with needle and thread. If you know, because we fed it onto the yarn, and that'll hold on the yarn, but it depends on the amount of usage. You know, if you make one and you're dressing and redressing and dressing and redressing and using, you know, only one of these, you know, then that'll wear out. That yarn will totally wear out that's holding that button. So you're going to want to, you know, reinforce that. And then also, these are great if you're potty training. I say this in other videos that I made the bottoms for the Baby Alives, because all the Baby Alives, as far as I know, all of them are drinking. They all drink. Not all of them eat, but all of them, you know, drink. And with that, if you're potty training, make a few bottoms, and you know, and like, you know, practice. Show your kid, or you know, your grandkid, or whatever it is, you know. One of those nice little learning tools, I think, you know. All right, so 1 single crochet in the last single crochet, no chain. Just pull a tail, cut off, stick it on a yarn needle, and you're good to go. Weave in, you know, weave in all ends, and then a needle and thread to reinforce. All right, cut off, needle and thread. I don't know if you can hear it, but there's fireworks going off in the background on somebody's either celebrating a graduation or they're celebrating the 4th of July nice and early. All right. Make sure I'm zoomed out. Okay. So, and these are, you can put these right, you know, right in the washer. But it's going to be a snug fit, but it'll loosen up over time. So, you know, with use and whatever, it'll loosen up. So, you pull it nice. And see, I didn't realize how long my nails were getting, so I didn't cut them down. But I'll be getting them done again. Right? All right. So that's what that looks like. That's how that fits. And it comes up nice and high on the back side. All right. And then it covers up the belly button on the front. And I have my lights going because it's nighttime, so I have extra lighting in here or whatever. That's why I have my black tablecloth out, my velvet whatever, so that you could see the stitches and everything. So if you do make it, I hope you like making it. You know, I'm usually not so serious doing these videos and stuff like that. Usually cracking jokes and stuff, but it's kind of late, and I think I'm just a little worn out from the day. But thank you so much for watching, as always. Happy hooking, because it keeps you off the streets and keeps you out of trouble. And then if you're looking for something more advanced, you please check out my Etsy's. I have Kith and Barry from the TV show. And I have a Helen and a Trevor coming out. Alright, so I will be back super soon with my next tutorial. And thank you so much for watching. Give a thumbs up, subscribe, like, all the good stuff. Comments below, questions below. K. Jolie, Crochet Basics, Abby's new diaper to go with her booties and her matching dress. Thank you so much for watching. Have a super duper great day. And I will be back real soon. Take care now. Ciao. Bye.